Welcome back to Sue's Resilience. I'm your host, Sue. Before we begin today's conversation, I want to share a simple image that's been on my heart. An oak tree grows strong, not because of what we see above the surface, but because of the deep roots beneath it. Today, I'm joined by Gwen Glastetter. She spent 18 years with breast implants before her health began to decline, to the point where it became debilitating. Like many other women experiencing unexplained symptoms, she began searching for answers and eventually discovered breast implant illness. She's here today to openly share her story and how that search for answers ultimately led her to explant and begin healing. Thank you so much for being here, Gwen. I really appreciate you doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful for your willingness to share your story. So I want to begin with a question. When was the first time you heard about breast implant illness?
Um, it was after I became debilitating, the symptoms were literally taking over my life. Um, I started to research because um, I didn't know what was wrong. So I started to research. I found um, a detox program, and
Okay.
that was in the beginning of 2025.
Okay.
I joined with a health coach, and she is the one who mentioned breast implant illness. Prior to that, I had never heard of it.
Mhm.
I didn't know anything about it, but
Mhm.
once she told me about it, I knew that was exactly what was wrong with me.
Wow. Okay. And can you expand a little bit about that? So once you heard about breast implant illness, what were your next steps? What steps did you take?
Um, Once I found out about it, I began researching breast implant illness, looking for surgeons. I joined several Facebook groups where they would share their experiences, their surgeons,
Mhm.
um, and that's really where I got the bulk of my information. I consulted with three different doctors. Um, some do not do the in block, which is what I wanted. And so immediately I ruled out the first two. And then I met Dr. Saad from Rockford, Illinois, and he was amazing. He is intelligent, humble. His advocate has also had BII, so she was very understanding and knew everything, knew the things about it.
Mhm.
Um, After that consult, I knew that that's exactly where I needed to be. They told me that I was in the top 5% of his sickest patients. And so they got me in as quick as they could. So I just first heard about BII about February of 2021. Started to consult in March. And then in May, I had them removed.
Okay. Now, you mentioned you were in the top 5%.
Uh,
What made them, did they describe to you why they thought that or?
Dr. Saad said with my age,
Mhm.
my symptoms, and even just looking at my eyes. But I was having some severe mental illness, suicidal thoughts, fight or flight constant,
Mhm.
um, and turned into disassociation where I was like not remembering things. It got pretty severe.
Okay. Did you experience any, so just to kind of touch a little bit about so would you say you went into, before it got so severe, did you start with anxiety, depression, and then a little bit deeper into, obviously you mentioned suicidal thoughts. So
Mhm.
did it start with just like something small with anxiety, or how was it for you?
For me, when it started, I've had them for 18 years.
Okay.
So little things would happen. I was having headaches, so
Hmm.
I would be sent to a specialist, a neurologist. They tried many things,
Okay.
nothing worked. I had some cardiac issues, some irregularity. They also wanted to rule out a heart attack.
Okay.
Um, so I went through many specialists, and nobody ever put the picture together.
Mm.
Um, where it really started to decline my health was the beginning of 2023.
Okay.
That's when I was starting to have issues with work, um, just with the fight or flight, the depression, the fatigue, for many reasons. And
Right.
then I had to resign from my nursing position in January of 2024.
Okay.
That was the peak of my illness. I mean, in 2024 was the worst.
Mhm.
Um, again, the major symptoms were fatigue, depression, suicide, anxiety. My fight or flight was very high. I would panic in a lot of situations. Um, and then again, to the dissociation, which is literally your brain shutting down.
Mm.
So,
So when you were in your position prior to you having to leave nursing for a bit, um, were you feeling, how would I say? So tell me if I'm right in this. Did you first start noticing just like a lack of focus or because of your, I don't know
I
how to
would
describe what you were.
again, I had many different symptoms, the fatigue, um, the depression was probably the leading issue at the time in 2023, and the
Mhm.
reason that I had to stop working. I had brain fog, memory issues, um, again, the fight or flight and anxiety. I just was very stressed. I could not, uh, it was hard for me to deal with my work environment, and nursing is stressful and definitely needs your attention, and it just got to a point where it wasn't safe anymore.
Absolutely. I understand what you mean by that. Uh, However, I do want to make sure for our listeners, can you just describe to us what the time frame was from the moment you started really noticing, something was off, I guess, until
Mhm.
the time you actually decided, okay, this is not safe. Like I really need to, remove myself from this job at this point in time.
um, I would say it, the symptoms were very gradual, very wasn't tied to anything. And then again, 2023, the very beginning, a lot of it was the mental issues. It can cause neuroinflammation. I had the brain fog, anxiety, depression. Um, that was off and on throughout 2023. I would work for a period of time, and then my psychiatrist would have me go out for several weeks until I could get a little better, and then I would go back and try it again. And finally, January of 2024, he wanted me to resign, which was what I needed to do at that point.
Okay.
Um, so the entire 2024, um, I was debilitated. I was out of work, um, searching for answers.
Mhm.
Um, I had to stay at a mental hospital because of the suicidal thoughts.
Excuse me.
Um, and then, I mean, that just continued until I finally found this detox program, and my health coach
Mhm.
explained to me what was going on and the cause of all my symptoms. And that was, like I said, about February, March of 2025. So for the last prior 2 years,
Mhm.
were very ill, out of work, um, just about bed rest. It was pretty severe.
Excuse me one second. I'm sorry.
Okay.
That all sounds very, very scary,
Mhm.
everything you went through. Um, I'm really sorry you had to go through that. Now, I would like to, hopefully end in a good place, as far as you mentioned you did have explant.
Mhm.
Can you tell me what did you feel like initially after explant?
Um, I explanted May of 2025,
Mhm.
and within, I would say that first week, I noticed that I was not depressed. I was recovering from surgery,
Mhm.
but it was almost immediate, and I've not had the depression, suicide. I still have a little bit of anxiety.
Mhm.
Um, my fight or flight is much better, but it does take a long time to
Mhm.
decrease the nervous system.
Right.
Um, I still have my headaches, my concentration, my brain fog, all that is better. I'm not having any more cardiac issues. My blood pressure's improved. Um, I had thyroid issues during that time.
Mhm.
After explant, I've been able to come off of my thyroid medication.
Okay.
Um,
Great.
I had a lot of gut issues, which have improved, but I'm still
Good.
working on that as well. Um, I would say 80% of my symptoms are either gone or very improved.
Wow, that's awesome because you're almost a year out, right?
Yes, 10
Okay.
months.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm very
Yes,
happy for you.
thank you.
And yeah, absolutely. It's um it's pretty amazing. I mean, uh, I I had my explant the end of December of last year, and just within those months, I mean, I can relate to maybe sometime later you and I can discuss things. We have a lot of similarities in our story, actually.
Yeah,
But I want to get back to you, and I want to make sure that our listeners understand that everyone's symptoms are different, right?
yes.
And what would you say, what would you say to someone who, if they were just beginning the journey, I guess, and trying to figure out what's going on with them because maybe they've gone through a myriad of tests just like you have, and they're not sure what to do next. What do you think how would you advise someone in that position?
First of all, I know it's exhausting to go to different doctors and they all dismiss it. They tell you it's your age or it's normal to be fatigued. So I understand the frustration there.
Mhm.
Um, there are not a lot of doctors that know about breast implant illness. I have educated my specialist, my primary. Um, they now know it, and there's just a lot of people that don't know about it.
Mhm.
Um, I would say research the list of symptoms, and that will give you a good idea if this is probably what you have. There are no lab tests that can be done to prove that you have it. It's diagnosis by exclusion. So after the explant, when you improve, then they can say that it was breast implant illness. So I would join support groups on Facebook.
Absolutely.
I have a Facebook group. It's called Hidden Truth About Implants. I started that after my explant, and that was to share my story, to get the information out, to share education. Um, I suffered for a long time not knowing about it, and I want to prevent women from having to do that. I want to educate as much as I can.
Thank you so much for doing that. That's so important to just keep that awareness going. And,
Yes.
you know, uh, that's why I wanted to do this series because it's just incredible how many women are out there that don't have a clue about what BII means or, so yes, I'm very grateful that you're doing this as well. I'll have to check out your group.
Yeah.
Now, Do you have anything that you wish that more people understood about BII? Maybe something you learned along the way that you didn't quite learn in the beginnings of your research?
Um, I would say just because there's not a lot of information,
Mm.
um, a lot of spouses don't understand it, don't see it because a lot of the symptoms are not apparent. I mean, you're feeling them, but nobody else can see it.
Right.
Um, just to, I don't know, just educate and try to look up as much information as you can. Searching all the groups. There's private groups, there's public groups. Um, and because there's no lab test and a lot of doctors don't know, it's just dismissed and we're led to believe that we're crazy.
Mm.
Um,
Yes.
and that is not at all the truth.
It's really infuriating, isn't it?
Mhm.
I know. Oh my gosh, yeah. Um, so what is your current support system like? Do you have, well, go ahead and share that with me if you wouldn't mind with our listeners. Because that I believe that's important.
During 2024, which was, my hardest year, I was newly married. And once I got to the debilitating, out of work and mentally unstable, he asked for divorce. So he left because of this. And
Oh my gosh, really? That's awful. I'm so sorry.
that's okay.
It's-
My mom, my sister, I have other nursing friends, my son.
oh, you have a son. That's awesome.
Yes.
How old is
He's
he?
he's 25.
Okay.
He's great. I would also say my church and my psychiatrist has been amazing. He's the one that has helped me through all of this and done everything possible that he could do. Um, he's definitely been a support too.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's so important to have someone in your corner. I mean, you've been through a
Mhm.
lot and it's just, yeah, I think that's definitely something that we all need. We all need to,
Yeah,
like you said, we're made to feel like we're crazy and we definitely are not crazy. So,
right.
you need to bounce your feelings and whatnot off of, the people that you trust. And I'm glad you had that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Um,
when it gets so debilitating, you're isolated and you do need other people. Many prayers, just support. Um, it's important.
if you wouldn't mind sharing, I'm not sure how throughout this whole process for you, how how important is faith to you?
Very important. When I was in my most depressed state, um, that is where I relied on my faith the most. Um, and because of that, this has been a long healing journey, and my spiritual growth has been i- incredible. My church family, they are so loving, accepting, sending prayers all the time. And I believe in prayers.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, I definitely have leaned on God to help me through this.
Okay. Now, since you just mentioned you lean on God, do you have any like morning practices or maybe something in the evening that you do regarding um any type of, I don't know if it would be like a ritual or some sort of um just something that helps you that maybe our listeners can benefit from regarding that.
Um, I think starting the day out either in prayer or by meditating, reading. Um, Someone had suggested to me to start with the Psalms and read one every morning, and that's kind of a way to pray and just get your mind in God. I think staying in the Word and staying close to Him. Um, I do Bible study once a week. I go to church once a week. Um, just praying, even to get outside in nature and walk.
Oh,
I can have conversations with God about, being grateful.
absolutely.
Um, yeah,
I could totally
just
relate.
kind of incorporated into my life. Yeah.
Mhm. That's awesome. I mean, I nature is one of those things that helped me so much. And just like you mentioned, relying on my faith, I think those are the top two things, honestly, faith and nature.
Hmm.
It was very
Yes.
difficult. As you've been through, you know that, whew, I don't know how long it took you to get out in nature, but it took me quite a bit. I
Mhm.
was like in my own head, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I was again isolated and spent a lot of time in my room because of the severe depression. Um, After explant, everybody has their own journey. People think that it's a immediate fix. It only removes, the root cause. You have to do a lot of detox, a lot of nutrition, a lot of health things. Um, and once I healed some, I do daily walks, and the exercise is good. It helps your mood, it helps you heal. So, in nature, just
Beautiful. I love
God's beautiful things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things I remember the most. Once I started, how would I say? I guess healing is the right word. Once I started healing and really looking at nature, everything around, and
Hmm.
you can see like God's beauty everywhere,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, do you have, well, you mentioned you have a 25-year-old son.
Yes.
So how has he been your support throughout this process?
Um, our relationship has always been very close. He lost his father when he was 3, so it's kind of been me and him.
Okay.
So we are very close. We talk a lot. If during my recovery, he would stop by like every day just to, if I needed groceries or to make sure I had what I needed. Um, he's a
Been,
good guy. Yeah.
wow, I'm so happy to hear that. Now, what about, so you have a group church friends, you mentioned psychiatrist, your son. Um, I'm sure you have within the church, obviously you have the church members, so you have so many people that know and love you.
Hmm.
Do you feel like you've gotten enough support throughout this whole process? All in all, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
I mean, it was hard, losing a marriage. That
Exactly.
part was difficult, but yeah, it's a healing journey. I think it can be beautiful. It is nothing that's going to happen quick. It's not linear.
No.
Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I have support.
I like how you said that. It's not linear, and that's so true.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah.
People get caught up in, like I said, once they think they're out, they're healed. And so then they're disappointed. Just for people to understand every journey is different. Everybody's, stress load is different.
Mhm.
Um, you know, the condition of the implants are different, everything. So you can't compare yourself to anyone else.
Oh, that's such a good point. I love that you brought that up. That's so true. I think
Mm.
that sometimes when we go through things, well, first of all, number one, we feel like we're the only ones going through it, right?
Yes.
And
Hmm.
then, yeah, to compare ourselves to other people, oh my gosh, that's a downfall for anyone. I feel like
Yeah.
you can't do that because yeah, like you said, everyone is different. I mean, we're all unique. And
Mm.
even like you mentioned, after explant, going through detoxification, what works for you might not work for someone else. And
Right.
it's,
Hmm.
yeah, it's a learning process. Yeah. So where are you now in that detox aspect of things?
Um, I did. a complete year of detox. I started before my explant. And then I just recently, about a month ago, stepped back from that because I felt that it was taking too much from me. And I felt I needed to recover a little better,
Mhm.
um, nutrition, strength. So I took a break. I'm not finished. I was positive for many different mold strands. So we are trying to detox mold, which my breast implants are growing mold.
Mhm.
So I'll get back to it, but right now my priority is gaining some strength back.
Okay. Now, did you, in your research, understand that whole aspect of how they can build up mold?
I think I learned more of that from my surgeon and his advocate.
Okay.
But certainly my health coach was aware of the mold. And once I did the test, it was obvious that I had some mold. So my health coach has been working on that.
Can you just slightly expand on that so our listeners understand, like a little bit about how that can
Yeah.
happen? I'd appreciate that.
Um, First of all, people think saline implants are safe,
Mhm.
but all implants are encased in silicone. So they all do gel bleed. Um, the saline, they call it um, like you have an extra um, hurdle, I guess, with the saline because there's a valve that they inject the saline to fill the implant. And they close that valve, but it is a faulty valve and it doesn't seal. So once it's in the body, these toxins, mold, many things can go out of the implant, back into the implant, back out into the body. And that's how, you can get contaminated with silicone or mold or even bacteria.
Right, right. Okay. Well, thank you for explaining that. I really appreciate it. And in
Yeah.
your case, I guess it makes a whole lot of sense because you've had them for 18 years. Now,
Yeah.
just to be clear, you had one set for 18 years. You didn't have more than one
Yes.
set, correct?
One set.
Okay, got you. Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, mold is nasty stuff.
Mhm.
It
It's
doesn't.
very hard to get rid of and
Mhm.
causes a lot of symptoms.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, I did want to, is there something that you haven't shared that yet that you would like to share that we didn't touch on with regarding your story? Take your
Just, I guess that everyone understands the severity of it.
time.
Um, it's like other conditions, like mental conditions or even health conditions. If you can't see it, you don't think the person is suffering. Um,
Yeah.
so just understanding that, finding your support, and many people, not just me, but after explant have went on to educate. And that's where my heart is right now. I'm not back to work yet. I hope to be soon, but me helping these women, I am open to messages. Um,
That's awesome.
I want to help anyone that I can help.
Exactly how I feel. That's beautiful. I love it. Thank you. Thank you
Mhm.
again for doing that. Now, as we close this conversation today, I have one final question for you.
Okay.
So, looking back now, if you could talk to the version of yourself who chose implants, what do you think she was really hoping they would give her?
I think that for myself and probably most others, it's self confidence. It changes your image of yourself or how you see yourself or how you think other people see you. Um, I wish that I knew what I know now. I wish that I had never tried to change my body. I I wish I would have stayed natural, um, especially because of all these symptoms and suffering and everything that it's caused. but there is definitely a mental piece to it as well. The reason that you get them is to feel better. So when you have to take them out, that's also a struggle, accepting your body for who you are now.
That was beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think it's a lot of it's a lot of what women go through. I mean, everyone, whew, there's so many women that are just going to have they're going to see themselves in this conversation, I feel like, You're helping so many women and that's something to really be proud of.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
My passion. God gave me my purpose of nursing, and that's my purpose right now.
Awesome. Yeah, and you can just keep it really is incredible how it's a ripple effect. You keep
Yes.
talking about it, we keep talking about it, and it just keeps going down the line, which is amazing. So yeah, keep
Yes.
doing what you're doing. I'm so proud of you. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, I do want to say thank you so much for listening today. If today's conversation inspired you at all, please share the episode with someone who may need a little encouragement right now. And if you enjoyed the show, I'd be so grateful if you follow along the podcast and leave a review. It helps more people discover these stories of strength and hope.
Yes.
And remember, resilience grows when we nurture our roots. Till next time, with love and light.